You must be Daisy. I'm here to help. I want to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why not let S.H.I.E.L.D. make this universe the best it can be?
And how do you plan on doing that?
Killing.
Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. gone rogue.
You have just scored front row seats to the greatest show on Earth.
Control your power. You want to see control?
Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're back talking more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episode 11. It is the penultimate episode of the entire series. It is called Brand New Day. Before we get into the episode, just a few things. If you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like button and share and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I want to really thank all of you guys out there that have found the channel through this season, the people that have returned, the people that have been watching my channel. This has been a very special season, and it's had its ups and downs, and we're almost to the end. And I just want to thank you guys for being here, choosing to be here. There's a lot of people all of a sudden that have decided to cover this show because there's not a lot out there for Marvel content. I know my channel is not as polished as others and doesn't give you all the clips all the time, and we're always trying to just stay ahead of the blocks and the copyright claims and all that stuff. So it really means a lot that you guys have been here. Also, don't forget that on Fridays this week and next week, we'll be finishing up Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. on D's Reviews with Darren Jakes and Don Willie, where we talk about all the events that have happened in the recent episode. And this week in particular, we're doing another Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. show where you guys can be on the show and talk about what you guys we're basically talking about predictions for the finale. That's on D's Reviews at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 7 Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, this Friday night and next Friday night as well. Okay, so this episode is better than last week's, but it still has one major flaw still floating around in it, and that's Cora. That being said, like I said, this is a pretty good episode. But most of this is all build up and set up for the finale. Last week on Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., I had said that, and maybe in my last review, that I wanted this week to wrap up the Nathaniel stuff, to set the timeline right in the finale, end the Nathaniel Cora stuff in this episode. Well, I can see now that that's not what's going to happen, and that we're stuck with this, whether we like it or not, till the end. Now, I do believe that there's going to be a lot of good stuff in the finale. This is not really what I wanted for the finale. What it looks like is going to be for the finale, what we saw in the promo for next week. But it is what it is. And I know that some of you out there are just digging all of it, and it does not matter at all what I'm saying. And that's good on you. You know, I wish I was you. And then there's some people that have hated every single thing about this season. I've seen it in the comments. And I, wish that you were getting what you wanted to. I think that for me and a lot of other people, we're kind of in the middle of the road here. Where, for me, personally, this season started out really, really, really strong and stayed that way. And only had one kind of blip in there, and that was the episode where Nathaniel tried to take Quake's powers and the barn fell on him, that episode. That was a little blip, and then last episode was another kind of real major skip the record kind of moment where a lot of us were like, what's happening? We're starting to get concerned about where the series finale is going. And unfortunately, that's where I'm still feeling like concerned. Is all this set up here. Now, not all of it, like I said, is bad. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I want to mention really quickly that, like, 616 permission to land that Yo-Yo said. 616 being the main Marvel continuity, at least, you know, in the comic books, the 616 universe. I love that's what she used as a code. We also find out that this, you know, kind of what we already kind of suspected, right? They even mention it, is that the old timeline is gone. And that this is a new timeline. And yes, because of all the things that they've been doing throughout, enough changes have been made that we're on a whole new thing. Just like they talked about in Endgame. There's been so many things that you can compare to Endgame in this last season. But that's a big one. That really kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit, knowing that for sure that they basically were saying, forget about the old timeline. This is where we are now. And then we got, and I'm sorry I'm pausing, but I'm trying to deal with how to talk about Cora even further than I wanted to last week. Because it's not just the fact, it's all the things about it. It's the addition of this character in the 11th hour with not really enough time to really just build this character up into anything. And if you like Cora as a character, great. But I don't. I find her unnecessary. I find that there were so many other ways that they could have gone with this season. I was so worried again that they were going to go super sister superhero team, and they even bring it up in this episode. And I went, oh no, it's going to happen. And I'm not against that if this was something that they were leading to for a while, you know, that they had a chance to be sisters, but this is, we're rushing, we're running out of time. We don't have this. Thankfully, that is not what they did here. That was just what Cora was hoping would happen. And throughout, I can't really look at this character without being just irritated. The way she's just smiling, I don't think that, I really don't like to be negative about actors. But I'm just not a fan of this actress. I'm not a fan of how they write her. I'm not a fan of her character at all. And so the fact that they're pinning so much on this 11th hour character and not on our core group of characters, the linchpin looking like it's going to be Cora, that's going to have to save the day here, really irritates me. I also was frustrated that Deke was going to be our ace in the hole on the ship. And we were going to get, and he even says, ooh, look, I'm like, you know, this is like Nakatomi Plaza, right? Die Hard reference. Great, he's going to be sneaking around. Oh, he's caught. He's caught immediately, beaten, and then they, you know, and for no reason because, you know, Nathaniel just goes into Jemma's head on his own. So that whole idea that a lot of us were excited about was taken right off the board. And I guess you could say that's subverting our expectations. Okay. But Daisy playing her own odds. Her going up here, because this was my favorite moment probably of the whole episode, was right at the beginning when she threw her against the wall. And I think that what she did there was what a lot of us wanted to do to that character, except I don't think any of us would have stopped when Mac says stop. Maybe we would. Maybe we wouldn't. But I love how Daisy plays her here. This was a great unexpected moment for me. This is where the subversion of expectations works for me, is Cora saying there's not a, you know, Sybil says, and it's all about her predictions, that Sybil says, you know, there's no universe where Daisy doesn't, you know, doesn't let her sister fight alone, which tells Daisy, I got to do the opposite. I'm just going to toss the keys to her and walk out the door, and I'm going to go find my real sister, Simmons. And I'm going to take Mr. Other Man Out of Time that's not Steve Rogers with me, because unlike he's never left his post, and now this is another unpredictable moment. part of me thought that maybe the unpredictability was going to be the predictability. But so far, so good. It does not seem like by the end of this episode that that's what happened. It did seem to kind of work, but then in the end, it really didn't really... They're going to work out irregardless. Next week's the end. It's going to happen. So they're going to have to... They're doing something. Simmons blocking Nathaniel, where they try to use Deke as leverage. And we actually get to see a little bit of Fitz. A little bit. And that... And knowing that it was seeing it through because Nathaniel was forcing his way in. That's how we get to see Fitz. Is through Nathaniel's, forcing it. And that in it itself kind of ruined it a little bit for me. Seeing Ian back as Fitz for as short a period of time as we got was nice, but it was kind of soiled by the machinations of Nathaniel trying to find out what, where he is. Mac showing up and letting Daisy and Sousa go was great. Again, another little bit of subversion, because Mac's usually, he's been towing the company line, let's just say that, for a lot of, when in these moments, that's what he usually does, but I like that he understands too. We can't keep giving Sybil what she wants, we gotta be unpredictable. Nathaniel, though, oh man, again, I'm not a big fan of this character either. I've not been shy about saying that I don't like any of the Malik characters. But then we have May trying to talk to Cora. Now they haven't told her that her mom's dead, which is a story, a purposeful choice that they made in the story because they needed her to go from point A to point Z, well, emotionally. Instead of just saying, you know what, it would probably be best is just fucking tell her. Which I wish they would have just done that. But it doesn't fit where they want the story to go and how they want to tell the story. So, we don't always get what we want. And unfortunately, I'm not getting a lot of what I want. And I just have to live with it. So she turns off the lighthouse in an impressive special effect. Really, always these special effects are fantastic. But she turns off the lighthouse, letting Sybil in. But it also gives Coulson another power, which is, realization of a power, which is becoming a code breaker. Reading the information as much as he can from Sybil. But in the end, all it really does is... It doesn't really amount to much by the end of this episode. We just... Because of what happens. Hopefully maybe they'll find he'll read another sentence that means something that'll turn the tide or something. I did think it was funny him telling her, don't read it out loud, I can read. And that is what led them to the idea to figure out code. Daisy and Mac. This was an amazing scene of them talking about the end. And it wasn't just the end of their, for us, it's not just them talking about the end of their team, it's the end of the series. This was one of the best scenes in the entire episode. This might be the best scene in the entire episode. I don't do like D does, like, scene of the week! Or as he did last week, which was great, the almost scene of the week. But this would be the best scene, I think, is them just talking about that, me and my family, and you are my family, and bringing up Sousa and all of that. It was just really well done, really, really touching. Mac in this episode, getting to be kind of the Coulson figure in this for her, and that was really a great for Henry Simmons to get this, these scenes with Daisy. I really, really like that, and I'm actually shocked that this is my favorite scene. Usually, an emotional scene like this doesn't usually make it up there for me. But May is convinced by Coulson that we need to really reach Cora. But I just kept saying to myself, do we even want her to be reached? And I'm just like, no, I don't care. I don't care about her. And the more that I'm forced to accept this, the more I'm just disappointed. that again, a 11th hour character is going to play such a huge role when we've got characters like Yo-Yo who barely get anything to do. The list that they bring up that lets, like the Project Insight, that they can just take out all these people in this timeline to make it the best timeline. Instead, right now, we're looking at the darkest timeline. But they bring up Grant Ward. And I know that I myself really want to see Brett Dalton back as the character, but all we really get is this nice examination of what they're trying to do, which is Cora's talking about how many people he's killed, but Coulson immediately brings up what I've talked about, which was in the framework we saw a good version of Ward, a version who was not tainted by Garrett, that if reached by the right people, you could make people better, you could make better decisions. Well, Cora just wanted to say that if Garrett wasn't involved, he'd be something worse. And he instantly fires back at the real thing, that she's just a stupid character. God, she's written so stupidly. But I love that Coulson just throws that right out there. No, we are not just, bad or good. Our environment and the people we meet, and it's not just one thing that makes us good or bad. People can change. Mac and Sousa's little moment too. Again, Mac has hitting all these great character moments with these two characters, between Sousa and Quake. Him asking the intentions was fantastic. Him telling Sousa, "You better get ready, pal." And their whole joke that is one of the few brief moments of levity of the name Quake. Quake. Oh, hey, Quake. And it is really funny, actually, when you think about it. But a lot of words are if you just say them, by themselves and just really imagine it. Just whatever. Fitz in one real scene, one kind of several memories, but one long scene of him saying it doesn't matter how long it takes, if it doesn't matter how long it takes, why don't we live together? No mission, just be. Which is kind of what a lot of, I know we've talked about that how long were they out there? If they were building it doesn't matter. They could have lived a whole life. We thought we were going to see this. We thought we were going to see this a whole episode with them dealing with this, and that's not what we got at all, really. We just got a few moments jammed in here as far to build up again all this setup for the finale. But there was one word in there that stands out, and that was blood work. The blood work. Now, they could be talking about blood work that you might have to do for, pregnancy. Or is Fitz dying? Or is Jemma dying? I would say I'd be leaning more towards Fitz, if they're not talking about a pregnancy. Because they immediately cut away. They stayed purposely vague in the next scene where they're holding each other and Nathaniel doesn't get what he wants. And then they finally do tell Cora about her mom. And then, she goes through all the rigmarole of blaming everybody but Nathaniel still. And then we get we start out something and then we get pulled away. May and Cora's fight starts out really great. I am ready to see May kick some fucking ass and kicking Cora in the stomach was like another really high point of the episode. But again, Garrett shows up, takes her away, right as the fight's getting good. And then Simmons, when she comes out of the machine, has forgotten Fitz. Does that mean that Nathaniel took those memories and that's why she can't remember? I don't know. But we find out the real reason that they're up in space is not to hide, but to call reinforcements. And I was thinking to myself, there haven't really been that many Chronicoms in a Chronicom-themed season where they're the big threat. We've had a couple of guys here and there, and then they all got blowed up. But now we see them coming through portals, and now they're blowing up S.H.I.E.L.D., literally destroying S.H.I.E.L.D. from space. And, I mean, that's the last line of the main story before we got to the stinger, which, again, is Nathaniel and Cora. These villains suck. Kissing. You know, they're making out at the end. And, I mean, the whole thing is set up and telegraphed that Cora is the linchpin to stop Nathaniel. I know in the promo we see Quake fighting Nathaniel in this, like, power thing and maybe that whatever, but they're really hinging what seems to be everything on Cora's opinion of Nathaniel and whether or not him killing her mother will be enough to make her save the day. But it shouldn't be hers. This should not be her moment. This should be Daisy's moment. And I hope that they do give it to Daisy. I hope that Nathaniel kills Cora. I don't even care anymore. I don't care how they all get taken out. But we're going to find out next week on the 2-hour series finale. And like I said, I really wish that I had more things to say because there, again, just like last week, there's good things in here. But every time Cora's on screen, it just takes me out. And it makes me think about all the things that I'm not liking at the end here, and I'm hating that. I know that there's a strong possibility that they're going to pull it out for me, but I feel like the characters themselves, sometimes you got to be in the worst possible place before you can finally build yourself back up. I hope that's what happens in the series finale. I hope you guys join us over on D's Reviews for fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., where you guys can be a participant this week. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, we'll be back next week for the 2-hour series finale review. And just to let everybody know, anybody that's gotten this far, when the series is over, I will be going back and restarting my old reviews for the show that for episodes I didn't finish of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We just started season 3 when I stopped doing the reviews. To take a break and do a little less work around here. So we're going to start doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. If you want to watch new reviews of old episodes, and there's also maybe some talk about doing some Agent Carter thing with someone, but we're going to have to see how that germinates over the next couple of weeks. So this is Rob at Smirking Gun Review saying have a great day, and we'll be back next week with the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.